You found the podcast, Go Beyond the Brief, where we take a deep dive into the societal currents shaping our lives. Together, we'll explore the often unseen forces at play. We'll examine the research, dissect the data, and most importantly, if you're seeking to understand what's shaping our society,
midlife crisis,
this
right?
is the
And
place.
for a lot of us, that phrase probably brings up images of a flashy sports car, maybe some sudden big life changes. But what if that whole popular image is just, a tiny part of something much deeper, a really personal psychological shift? Let's maybe unpack that a bit.
Indeed. And that popular idea is exactly why in this deep dive, we're focusing on what your sources suggest is really happening, the midlife reckoning. This isn't some fleeting moment. It's actually a profound, sometimes turbulent, but still very normal developmental stage. Usually hits between, say, 40 and 60. So our mission today is really to get past those cliches and look at the real psychological insights. What's going on? And importantly, why does it matter for you?
Okay, so diving into these sources then. The term midlife crisis itself seems kind of misleading. What are they saying is the more accurate way to understand this time? And why is that distinction so important?
Well, what's really fascinating is how the sources redefine it. They suggest that instead of something that just happens to you, like a crisis suggests, the reckoning implies an active internal process. It's about reevaluation, maybe some self-confrontation.
Ah, okay. So it's less about losing control.
Exactly. It's more about your own agency in navigating these pretty significant internal shifts. Midlife really acts as a kind of developmental crossroads. You find yourself looking back, right, at your life story, things you achieved, maybe dreams you didn't quite reach. And at the same time, you're sizing up your current reality, job, relationships, health, all of it. But maybe the biggest psychological push comes from thinking about the future. That realization, sometimes it hits hard, that time isn't infinite.
Yeah.
And that forces a deep rethink about what genuinely holds meaning for you.
That makes a lot of sense. So if we look at the big picture of human development, where does this reckoning fit in?
Your sources link it directly to a really powerful idea from Erik Erikson. Generativity versus stagnation.
Generativity.
Right. Yeah, generativity is basically this deep concern for and contribution to the next generation. It could be raising kids, mentoring, community work, that kind of thing. Stagnation, well, that's the flip side. Feeling kind of self-absorbed, maybe purposeless. So the discomfort you might feel during this reckoning, it's not just random noise. It's like the psychological pressure nudging you to look at your level of generativity. You either lean into contributing more or you risk feeling, well, stuck.
That's quite a framework. So what actually kicks off this intense reckoning period? Is there like a common trigger, or does it vary a lot?
Well, the sources point to one trigger as being almost universal. Confronting mortality,
Yeah.
really facing it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, maybe a milestone birthday, the big 4-0 or 5-0, or perhaps losing a parent or a friend your age, maybe a personal health scare. Suddenly, time feels very finite. And that awareness, it's powerful fuel for this whole reevaluation process.
I can see how that would be a major catalyst.
Definitely. Beyond that big one, other triggers often show some gendered patterns, interestingly. For men, it might often be hitting a career plateau, feeling professionally stuck. This can sometimes lead to more external actions, like career changes, maybe those expensive hobbies we talked about earlier. For women, common triggers can be the empty nest when kids leave home, or finding themselves in the sandwich generation caring for aging parents and their own children. Their responses, according to the sources, tend to be a bit more internal. Maybe pursuing education, getting more involved in the community.
Right. Different pressures, different responses sometimes.
Yeah.
And internally, what does this reckoning actually feel like? Is it just stress?
The sources often mention a temporary dip in well-being. There's this concept called the U-shaped curve of happiness.
Okay.
Yeah, self-reported life satisfaction often hits its lowest point somewhere in the late 40s or early 50s for many people. So this period of intense reevaluation, it absolutely can bring feelings of anxiety, maybe some depression, a sense of disillusionment. It can feel pretty tough, like you're really being tested.
But it sounds like it's not just about feeling bad, is it? It seems like there's a huge opportunity there, too, for growth.
Absolutely. That's key. The reckoning acts as a catalyst. It pushes you towards gaining wisdom, finding a renewed sense of purpose. Practices like mindfulness, just paying attention to the present without judgment and self-compassion, being kind to yourself even when you're critical.
Yeah.
These are highlighted as really crucial tools. They help build resilience to navigate this challenging phase and ultimately make it transformative.
Okay. So it's not just surviving it, but potentially emerging stronger, more authentic.
Precisely. It's about coming out the other side with a clearer sense of who you are and what you want your life to be about.
So wrapping this up then, the midlife reckoning is clearly much more than just a simplistic crisis. It sounds like a really powerful, complex, potentially life-changing period of development. It's not something passive that just washes over you, but more like a conscious journey you navigate towards a more authentic, maybe more purposeful second half of life.
Exactly. And thinking about that raises a really important question for you, the listener, as you reflect on your own life journey, perhaps where you are right now. What parts of your own story might be shaped by this kind of reckoning? And maybe, how could you embrace its potential? Not just the challenges, but the potential for real, profound growth and finding a renewed sense of meaning. Something to think about.